Good morning and thank you for being with us. Broadcasting live from Chiapas, Mexico, I'm Ana Acevedo. Let's start with Mexico news. The cybersecurity breach detected on January 9 on Telcel's mandatory mobile line registration platform has triggered a nationwide debate over corporate responsibility and potential regulatory sanction. The incident, which occurred shortly after the launch of the new mobile registry, allowed access to highly sensitive personal information, including full name, national ID numbers, tax identification data, and email addresses, simply by entering a phone number without any strong authentication safeguard. Although no formal penalties have been imposed so far, regulatory authorities have confirmed that the investigation remains open. Telcel, controlled by the Slim family, attributed the vulnerability to a technical error that was immediately corrected, denying any massive data leak and assuring that customer information remained protected. However, Victor Ruiz, CEO of cybersecurity firm Sling, warned that the case may fall under Mexico's federal law on protection of personal data held by private parties, which allow for administrative sanction rating from hundreds of thousands to millions of pesos and up to 320,000 UMAS when sensitive data is involved. Ruiz also noted that the agency with jurisdiction include the Secretary of Anti-Corruption and Good Governance, the Telecommunication Regulatory Commission, and in serious cases, the Office of the Attorney General. He stressed that this episode exposed the limitation of Mexico's current legal framework, recalling that a comprehensive cybersecurity law has remained still in Congress for more than 8 years. Such legislation will establish mandatory breach notification, regular audits, and minimum security standards. As the investigation continues, Telcel remains under scrutiny in a context where the mandatory mobile register seeks to enhance security, yet reveals the absence of fully integrated regulatory safeguards. And Democratic lawmakers introduced a bill in the U.S. House of Representatives aimed at preventing the United States from launching military action in Mexico without congressional authorization. The proposal, titled the Non-Authorized War in Mexico Act, was introduced by Representative Joaquin Castro, the ranking member of the Western Hemisphere Subcommittee, along with Representatives Sarah Jacobs and Greg Stanhope. The bill's main objective is to prohibit the use of public funds for inappropriate military operations in response to recent attacks near Mexico coastline and statements by President Donald Trump suggesting possible grounded offensive against drug cartels. Castro warned that dragging the country into an unnecessary and unauthorized war in Latin America would be deeply destabilizing, carrying risk of mass migration, human rights abuse, and enormous economic cost. Representative Jacob emphasized that any conflict with Mexico will endanger the lives of citizens in both nations and severely damage relations with America's top trading partner. She stated that bombing Mexico will not solve the fentanyl crisis or dismantle a criminal organization, calling the idea a catastrophic mistake. Meanwhile, the state described unilateral military action as a disaster and insisted that security goals must be achieved through cooperation with Mexico, not through attacks. Although the bill faces slim changes in a Republican-controlled Congress, its sponsors aim to spark a public debate and place on record their opposition to what they consider a dangerous approach to regional stability. And now, continue with more news. Mexico's Secretary of Anti-Corruption and Good Governance, Raquel Buenrostro, confirmed that multiple audits remain underway following the derailment of the intrasonic train on December 28, an accident that left 14 people dead and dozens injured. She explained that the reviews are part of the agency's preventive and corrective mandate, noting that inspection in the rail sector had already been scheduled since last year. Speaking after leading the launch of the Seat of Integrity program, Buenrostro said the train had been previously audited, but in that new specialized review were open that the accident. At this initial stage, authorities are examining whatever proper procedures are followed and if irregularities are found, action will be taken against the official responsible. She added that information is currently being corrected and documents submitted by relevant agency are under detailed analysis. Buenrostro also addressed data protection concerns related to the new mobile phone registry, emphasizing that, unlike the former Transparency Authority, her office has initiated investigation ex officio without waiting for citizen complaints. In this context, she confirmed threats involved Telcel, as well as possible omission by officials who may have delayed bills in order to allow cases to expire. The extension seeks to strengthen institutional transparency, clarify responsibility in both transportation safety and data. And we go to a break, and we'll be back with more news.
ContraPeso Noticias.
El lado honesto de la noticia.
ContraPeso Noticias.
Síguenos en todas nuestras redes sociales.
Somos ContraPeso Noticias.
ContraPeso Noticias.
ContraPeso Noticias.
ContraPeso Noticias.
ContraPeso Noticias.
ContraPeso Noticias. Somos ContraPeso Noticias.
ContraPeso Noticias.
La chula sigue ContraPeso Noticias.
El viento sopla historias de madrugada.
ContraPeso Noticias.
Con voces de pueblo y su corazón. Aquí en Chiapas traen la verdad. Relevantes historias, pura claridad. Las voces calladas aquí tienen lugar.
ContraPeso Noticias, el sistema informativo de la Asociación de Radio, Televisión y Medios Digitales.
El Instituto Hispano te ofrece nuevas licenciaturas y maestrías. Licenciatura en Pedagogía, Criminología y Criminalística, Derecho y Litigación, Maestría en Planeación Financiera y Fiscal, Ciencia de la Educación y Educación Especial, en plan cuatrimestral y modalidad mixta. Contamos además con las mejores instalaciones y el mejor equipo académico para tu futuro. Tenemos la mejor opción para ti. Inscripciones abiertas. Comunícate al 961 64 15 41 y 961252507.
Instituto Hispano Jaime Sabines, formando valores para toda la vida.
Muebles. El mejor precio, servicio y calidad es nuestro distintivo. Cotice hoy mismo al 961-2127-068. Por WhatsApp al 961-279-4168.
En este noticiero que sabe escuchar, desde la sierra llega el clamor, se alza la noticia como un tambor. Montañas y ríos saben murmurar que lo importante aquí viene a informar.
Ya conoces al Teletón. Tal vez has visitado alguno de nuestros 27 centros. O conoces a alguien a quien le cambió la vida con sus terapias. Quizás conozcas el Hospital Infantil Teletón de Oncología. O alguna familia que encontró esperanza en este lugar. Nos conoces en cada espacio que ha cambiado para ser más accesible para todos. Contigo hemos logrado cambiar historias, deportes, e incluso la manera en la que hablamos. Nos conoces porque juntos lo hemos cambiado todo. Y prepárate, porque todavía hay mucho más por cambiar. Teletón, orgullosamente tercos.
Si buscas calidad y confianza y refacciones para vehículos cuatrimoto y racers, Outdoors es la mejor opción. Acompáñanos, estamos ubicados en la Plaza Cañahueca.
Si lo tuyo es la velocidad, la aventura y los terrenos difíciles, necesitas tener tu cuatrimoto o side-by-side en perfectas condiciones. Outdoors es tu mejor aliado, ofreciéndote calidad, confianza y los mejores repuestos para que nada detenga tu ruta. Desde refacciones especializadas hasta los accesorios que potencian tu experiencia, aquí encontrarás todo lo que necesitas para que cada salida sea inolvidable. Porque sabemos que la adrenalina no espera, Outdoors te brinda productos resistentes, duraderos y listos para el desafío. ¿Buscas piezas para tu Racer? ¿Necesitas accesorios para mejorar el rendimiento de tu vehículo deportivo? En Outdoors lo tienes todo. Con su amplia gama de productos, la única preocupación que tendrás será decidir cuál será tu próximo destino. No dejes que los límites te detengan. Contacta a Outdoors 938-124-8046 y descubre por qué son la mejor opción para quienes viven con intensidad. Outdoors, donde la adrenalina y la calidad se encuentran.
ContraPeso Noticias.
El lado honesto de la noticia.
ContraPeso Noticias.
Síguenos en todas nuestras redes sociales.
Somos ContraPeso Noticias.
Contrapeso Noticias.
ContraPeso Noticias.
ContraPeso Noticias.
Contrapeso Noticias.
ContraPeso Noticias. Somos ContraPeso Noticias.
ContraPeso
del jaguar.
La chula sigue ContraPeso Noticias.
El viento
Yo sigo a
sopla
ContraPeso
historias de madrugada.
ContraPeso Noticias.
Con voces de pueblo y su corazón. Aquí en Chiapas traen la verdad. Relevantes historias, pura claridad. Las voces calladas aquí tienen lugar.
ContraPeso Noticias, el sistema informativo de la Asociación de Radio, Televisión y Medios Digitales.
And continue with more news. Only 4 of every 10 convenios affiliated with Mexico's Employed Confederation, Coparmex, believe this is a good time to invest, according to the latest data Coparmex survey presented by its president, Juan José Sierra Álvarez. He explained that just 39.5% of companies perceive favorable valuation, a figure comparable to levels seen during the pandemic, reflecting intense economic uncertainty. Among the international factors, most discovered investment in security stands out. Some of 70.3% of business owners report being victims of crime, a higher percentage than in the first half of 2024. Although the recent general law against extortion represents progress, Sierra Álvarez noted that extortion remains the most alarming crime, hitting micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises the hardest. Cargo left his also a major concern, rising from 25 to 25.6% in just 1 year. Jorge Peñuri, ahead of Coparmex National Commission for Security and Justice, report that 46.8% of member companies suffered at least one crime over the past year, though they reflects a slight decline compared to 2024. Vehicle and business property left affect 16.1%, showing a modest increase. Despite this challenge, 62.80% of companies still plan to expand, grow business, and create jobs. However, Sierra Álvarez warned that proposed electoral reforms will lead time amid economic stagnation and weak job creation, stressing that formal employment remains the strongest social program, having lifted millions of Mexicans out of poverty. We now send greetings to all the radio stations that rebroadcast ContraPeso Noticias across the region. 101.5 La Multicultural de Suchiapa, Radio Flores Mahón, Play Hits en San Cristóbal de las Casas, Radio Moreno en El Parral, Voz de Alerta, Insalto de Agua, From Villa Comaltitlán, La Comaltitleca, La Pegadora, Radio Canavas, Radio Esmeralda, La Rancherita, La Pichanchera, La Mera Mera, La Cultural Radio, La Super Romántica, Inocoso Cuatro Chula Pegadora, and Radio Conexión, and Radio Migrante. Grow your business with us and reach a broad, engaged audience. At ContraPeso Noticias, we deliver relevant, high-quality information and provide a unique platform to your business, product, or service to reach thousands of people. Our driver's audience closely follow the most important news, guaranteeing meaningful exposure. Advertising with us offer reach, credibility, trust, and direct impact with the customer who are genuinely interested in what you offer. We adapt to your needs with flexible attachment packages designed to maximize your market presence. Don't miss the opportunity to connect with more clients and strengthen your brand. Contact us today at 981 829 0201 and discover how we can help your business grow. Enjoy a unique stay in Cancun at Torre Caribe, located in an excellent area near Paradise Beaches, local food market, and shopping centers. Room available starting at 220 Mexican pesos per night, with rates subject to seasonal changes. Take advantage for our special promotion. Mention ContraPeso Noticias when you call and receive 15% of your third night. Ask about availability and find the perfect option for your trip. For more information and reservation, kind 961 333 6072. Make your stay unforgettable. We are back and moving on to the international news. Germany, Denmark, Sweden, and Norway announced a coordinated deployment of troops and military assets to Greenland in cooperation with NATO in response to growing geopolitical tension in the Arctic. The German military will send a 13 members reconnaissance team to Nuuk abroad and Airbus A-40M to assist regional defense needs, particularly maritime surveillance, working closely with Danish forces and with Sweden and Norwegian participation. The mission aims to define support capabilities that strengthen overall region security. The announcement followed a White House meeting between Danish and Greenlandic representatives with U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio and Vice President J.D. Vance, a meeting that failed to bridge indifference regarding the future of the territory. We agree to disagree, said Danish running Minister Lord Lausken acknowledged persistent disagreement with Washington. From Copenhagen, Defense Minister told Lund Poulsen confirmed an increase in aircraft, naval advancement, and troops in the Arctic and North Atlantic, in close coordination with allied forces. Sweden and Norway will also deploy personnel to participate in the military exercise Operation Arctic Intervention and to explore new areas of defense cooperation. Public support in Germany remains significant. A survey by the Foresight Institute found that 62% of Germans will support military intervention in the event of an emergency. German Defense Minister Boris Pistorius emphasized that this strategy does not seek a massive permanent presence, but rather continues surveillance and reconnaissance. Meanwhile, France announced the opening of a consulate in Greenland on February 6, rejecting increasing strategic interest from the United States under the administration of President Donald Trump in expanding this influence on the island. The U.S. Department of State announcement that the temporary suspension of immigrant visa processing for citizens of 75 countries, arguing that applications from those nations receive social assistance at levels considered unacceptable. The affected countries include Somalia, Haiti, Iran, Eritrea, Russia, Afghanistan, Brazil, Iraq, Egypt, Nigeria, Thailand, and Yemen. Mexico is not on the list. In a statement published on its official X account, the agency said the measure aims to prevent abuse of the generosity of the American people and stressed that the administration of President Donald Trump will always put the interests of the United States first. The decision is part of the broader tightening of immigration policy that since 2025 has intensified rights, deportation, and requirements for travel authorization. The State Department reported that in 2025, approximately 100,000 foreign visas were revoked, more than double the number canceled the previous year under the government of President Joe Biden. Of this, around 8,000 belong to students and 2,500 were specialized visas linked to individuals with criminal background. Official highlight cases involved drug possession and traffic, as well as arrests for driving under the influence of alcohol. Authorities have also strengthened background checks and implement strict vetting procedures, including the monitor of applicants' social media activity. According to officials, most of the revocation affect tourism and business travelers who overstay their permanent period of stay. The measure considered with the review of 55 million foreign nationals currently holding valid U.S. visas announced in August 2025, underscoring the hardening of immigration policy under the current administration. And we go to a break and we'll be back.
ContraPeso Noticias.
El lado honesto de la noticia.
ContraPeso Noticias.
Síguenos en todas nuestras redes sociales.
Somos ContraPeso Noticias.
ContraPeso Noticias.
ContraPeso Noticias.
ContraPeso Noticias.
ContraPeso Noticias.
ContraPeso Noticias. Somos ContraPeso Noticias.
En la tierra del jaguar
La chula
y
sigue
la
ContraPeso
cañada.
Noticias.
El viento
Yo sigo a
sopla
ContraPeso
historias de madrugada.
ContraPeso Noticias.
Con voces de pueblo y su corazón. Aquí en Chiapas traen la verdad. Relevantes historias, pura claridad. Las voces calladas aquí tienen lugar.
ContraPeso Noticias, el sistema informativo de la Asociación de Radio, Televisión y Medios Digitales.
El Instituto Hispano te ofrece nuevas licenciaturas y maestrías. Licenciatura en Pedagogía, Criminología y Criminalística, Derecho y Litigación, Maestría en Planeación Financiera y Fiscal, Ciencia de la Educación y Educación Especial, en plan cuatrimestral y modalidad mixta. Contamos además con las mejores instalaciones y el mejor equipo académico para tu futuro. Tenemos la mejor opción para ti. Inscripciones abiertas. Comunícate al 960.
Trump announced that he held a long conversation with Venezuela's interim president, Delcy Rodriguez, during which they discussed multiple issues on the bilateral agenda. Speaking from the Oval Office, Trump described Rodriguez as a remarkable person and stated that everything is going very well with Venezuela. The call took place one day before Trump is scheduled to receive opposition leader Maria Corina Machado at the White House, who has been excluded by Washington from the country's transition process. Rodriguez, who assumed the interim presidency following the capture of Nicolás Maduro and Celia Flores by U.S. forces on January 3, described the conversation as productive and respectful. She also announced that 406 political prisoners have been released in recent days, a process that began in December and remains ongoing. Appearing alongside Jorge Rodríguez and Diosdado Cabello, the interim president called on Venezuelan workers to unite and reaffirm her commitment to security as Maduro release, who is currently detained in New York. In a message delivered during a pro-government rally in Caracas, she urged the country to build a horizon of social and economic peace, offering hope to Venezuelan families. Trump, for his part, reiterated that the United States maintained its agreement to receive millions of barrels of Venezuelan oil, but then stressed that U.S. oversight of the interim government seeks to guarantee stability. The episode marks a pivotal moment in a bilateral relation defined by political negotiation, prisoner releases, and the search for a new balance in Venezuela. And continue with more headlines from Washington. The U.S. Senate rejected on Wednesday a resolution aimed at restrict President Donald Trump's authority to launch new attacks against Venezuela. The measure, introduced by Democrats and initially supported by 5 Republican senators, lost momentum after 2 top lawmakers revised their position following direct pressure from the president. Senators Josh Hawley from Missouri and Todd Young of Indiana withdrew their support, enabling the Republican majority to block the legislation. Vice President J.D. Vance was required to cast a tie-breaking vote in the 50-50 split Senate, tipping the balance in favor of the Republican motion to dismiss the proposal. The outcome reflects the significant political influence Trump continues to wield over much of the Republican conference, despite growing concerns in the Capitol regarding his foreign policy ambition. The high-profile vote exploded tension between lawmakers seeking to limit presidential military authority and those backing the administration's strategy towards Venezuela. Although the resolution failed, the narrow margin underscored the existence of a congressional faction worried about the possibility of the United States becoming involved in a broader conflict in Latin America without legislative authorization. The episode reaffirms that despite internal division, Trump's influence remained decisive in shaping this party's strategy decision. That concludes this segment of today's international coverage. Thank you for staying with us here on ContraPeso Noticias. We appreciate your trust and your time. We will continue to bring you the most important story for Mexico and around the world, with clarity, responsibility, and commitment to the truth. Have a great day, stay informed, and we look forward to see you again in a broad newscast. Remember, this is ContraPeso Noticias.